Samuel Pavin.
All right. Cheers. So, sorry, just dropping some backup because might need it. Hey guys, well, I'm just gonna be speaking about some very, very basic things today as just humans. Because actually, over the course of these 2 days, I mean, so far, we've been speaking about, well, entrepreneurship, people like entrepreneurs. And what was the point of the conference in the first place was like just like bring the valley, bring the valley to Lithuania. And what's about the valley is the spirit, is those guys. I mean, the amazing people first, and and foremost, I would say. So I'm just gonna do like very basic chatting on this, and I mean take from my experience as not much of an entrepreneur. Did a few things just for the background. Well, I started my professional life years and years ago, like doing music festival management, which was quite cool. Then I went into like old-fashioned tie and suit business because I did banking. It was very not cool. And well, moved on, did marketing consulting and so on, and ended up like doing consulting and actually doing some things for IBM. Um, so well, just basically, I'm gonna tell you a quick story about uh, just being successful in the basic, usual business life, and being quite, I would say, a failed entrepreneur in some way. It's not like really I'm a failed entrepreneur. Told a guy like recently. It's even worse. I've actually failed at failing because I've never really built a proper startup, which is a good thing so far. Because there's one thing I have to keep in mind, and that's the only picture you're going to see on my slide. I just have very few of those. I'm just picking anyway. I like that. But I mean, see, that was like retweeted by Startup Highway. I'm following you guys. That's quite cool. And that's this usual motto in the valley is if you fail, then you're kind of experienced. So if I've even failed at failing, maybe I'm very, very experienced, hopefully. So back to the story. Um, just startup-wise, I've actually built two companies recently. It's not proper companies. It's what we call like phony companies. I'm doing like freelance consulting, so I've built a company of me. Is a thing. I mean, like selling like brain power, so not many costs. I'm managing myself, so I kind of like me, so it's cool. And I already had customers, so it was like easy call, not much risk involved. Then the second company is a bit, startup, is a bit different. It's basically linked to IBM, because IBM, just 2 years ago, some guys decided that, well, we've been like working with startups for ages, but like on a kind of private basis, and let's make it official. Let's get married. So we got to do something, but we don't have like much resources. We've not beta tested the thing. It's like, well, how do we do it? And I got this guy like coming to me, was end of 2009, telling me, well, we want to do something with startups. What about you launching a program in France, just to kickstart the thing? I said, all right, let's go for it. Sounds fun at least. That was the point. And well, do I get money? Do I get support? Do I get, no, it's just you, yourself, and just go out there, build it from scratch, which has, well, quite some work to do. And the point was like, okay, now you got to build it from scratch, no network at all, no money, no people at the time, and you got to do it like in 3 months. Speak about France, January is vacation almost, so that's 2 months. So what I did is basically, I don't have like all solutions in mind. I'm not really, well, I can do things, can't do everything. So my first like point was, well, I need to get the proper, the right guys, the proper brain power, proper networks, just the guys who are gonna like make it click. I need to go out government, I need to go out to a startup ecosystem, I need to go out to, well, to the whole world in some way. And that was basically the point. It's like, all right, that's gonna work through people. And that's actually what I did. It's like, started wasting time looking for talents. Talents within IBM, talents within the ecosystem. It's like just getting the right guys. We're gonna do the right things, so we make it click. It actually came like, March 2010. Well, that's launch time, and actually it worked. We could launch program backed up by all the best of breed in France, like from government to startups to investors. Well, all top VCs there, just working with us. It was quite cool. And it's, well, mind you, IBM didn't help that much, even the name. So it was quite a lot of work, just even finding funds. So it was like quite a fair experience anyway. And as I was mentioning, I mean, the point was, it was all about people. It was like meeting people, just great guys. Like you could meet those guys here. It's like, it's not about like what you're creating, how are you gonna do it. It's like, well, you're gonna do something. It's very, very dark at the moment. We don't have a clue what you're doing. Oh, well, maybe you know. But you seem passionate. You seem to be willing to go for it. So let's go for it. And so, well, back to failing. So what then? We launched like a program which is some kind of a unofficial startup. But what do we learn? What did I learn actually? First thing is, I think I've gotten younger in some way, as I'm not really that much concerned about like getting out in the wild and doing some random stuff. I mean, as soon as it's fun. And the point is, that's actually what we're speaking about, like people. What comes with people as the spirit. And spirit you need just to make sure, go for it, build a startup, have fun, be successful is basically passion. And I think like passion is, well, still something I'm missing anyway. It's like, there was like Tim was like asking me, what's your passion? Well, I don't really have a passion. That's why I'm not doing much entrepreneurship, direct entrepreneurship. As what I usually say is when you build a startup, and that's advice I'm giving like startups usually, when I'm doing mentoring, is you need like both brain and art. I think I've got like mainly brains, missing the art part. And that's, well, I was recently joking about like, that's not something I should say to my girlfriend, but I don't really fall in love. Well, actually choose to fall in love. So it's not going to be repeated, I hope. And just like, well, arts and brains, that's I think just basically the rule behind founding a startup. As Alex was speaking about like getting, some co-founders. That's the point. If we do, you might have art, you might have passion, great ideas, but might not be able just to, push the startup to just the extra mile. That's where you need to, get in touch with the right people. And co-founders, I think, is quite cool because that's the time you can bring like people together, as put some art into brains and brains into art, and make it click, make it work. Again, like we're speaking about people, I think that's been like repeated quite a few over these past days. But just make sure you get in touch with people. Just like it's not necessarily like formal business meetings. I think there was like one motto as was like over these 2 days was just beer. Just go for a beer, speak to people, have fun, just socialize in some way. That's where like great ideas come from, and that's where you can actually collaborate, be it like on ideas, on products. That's where you can find mentors. That's where you can find friends. First thing is every entrepreneur is just like some normal guy, usually quite cool. The best are very cool. Got great examples here. So just go out, just have fun anyway. And last thing though is back to basics of like building a startups. Just keep in mind, I've met like quite a few startups, and the guys, they're just passionate about what they're doing. They're just missing one thing. It's like, well, guys, you're building a company. At some point, if you begin like being successful, hiring people, just don't forget that at some point you have to be the boss of the company. It's not usually that easy, but you get to manage people. You also have a responsibility. It's like, well, as soon as you hire people, then you might fire people as well. Um, just bear in mind, it's not really the best, I mean, best time ever. Anyway, and well, just a basic thing also. I'm just going back quickly to my own perception of work. I do have like a quality, which I call a quality. I'm basically very lazy. I like to keep my days like 15 hours at most. So that's also why I don't build a startup. Like I can work 20 hours a day. But being lazy is quite cool. When you build a company, you're usually like a lot into it. Your idea is the best. You're loving it. You want to go for it. It's quite cool. I mean, it's definitely passion. But one thing is like, well, just sit down, relax, lay back, get a beer, and you just like put the nail on what's not going well, or you know this thing you've left on the side of the road. Uh, just you know, well, relax, have fun, and basically those are the points I was mentioning. You know, quite easy. Uh, this the last bit is the talents. I mean, is that was the thing which worked for me in my funny startup, and that's the thing you need definitely when you're building a company. So what about the Baltics? Well, that's the thing. When we did speak in the first place, well, come to the Baltics, speak about like experience, and what about you guys? I think you have like wonderful assets already. Uh, that's basically, well, we've been like speaking a lot about internet. Yeah, you've got proper internet. I got crappy one, I must admit. When it comes to startups, well, this is key. Universities, well, I call it like universities as schools. You got like wonderful engineers as really, I mean, you got like very, very clean foundations there. Then you get people, and we've been meeting just wonderful people about the weekend. I mean, just not the weekend. We're gonna meet some during the weekend, but over these 2 days, it's like driven people, motivated people, like passionate people who do really want to do something for the country. And that makes it like really, you get the potential to be like the next, not Silicon Valley, as Barry was saying. Point is not about like just replicating things, just creating your own thing, which is definitely what you can do here. It's like, well, guys, go out there, keep moving forward. I think you're on track. You got wonderful things there already. You got proper Valley spirit now, and there are those guys with their eyes set on you. Investment is coming to the region. It's just a matter of like build on the foundations, but just don't build too much though. I had this like point about collaboration, as definitely make sure you collaborate. As like universities working with incubators, working with investors, just work together. That's the way you must like move forward. Don't do like what some countries have done. Like, well, I got an example for France, where there are like hundreds of incubators, accelerators, and so on. They're still missing mentors anyway, and that's not like a question of piling up resources. It's just a question of making sure you put the right resources in front of startups. So here it is. That's my favorite motto: is make impossible possible. Whatever your impossible is, just make it possible. You know, business world as the perfect world. I love it. As the only place, you know, if tomorrow I want to cure cancer, I can't do it. Not skilled enough, don't have the resources, well, whatever. And business world, whatever you want to do, that's definitely possible. That's the, you know, country of miracles. So make it click, make it possible. And that's about it. Thanks a lot.